All right, the news does not stop around here. Saturday, very, very eventful. A bunch of wide receiver news. Thought it was bad. Hollywood Brown had some good news. Then the Worthy situation turned out, I believe, to be not a complete false alarm, but it's looking very good in his favor at this point in time as far as his situation is concerned. He has been released from jail, and that's a whole nother conversation in and of itself. But the news that I need to break today after all the busyness yesterday was Nick Bolton getting a long-term deal done with the Chiefs. It is a little surprising. I don't hate the move. It is quite a bit of money, and I could definitely understand people if they are frustrated with this move and kind of why based on Nick Bolton's strengths and limitations in his game. So let's just jump right into it and talk about this. Ian Rappaport broke this first about 1:30 p.m., so about 30 minutes ago on Sunday. He said the Chiefs are keeping their star linebacker home. Sources say playmaker Nick Bolton and KC are in agreement on a deal to keep him with the team that drafted him. So here's the deal. 3 years, $45 million with $30 million guaranteed, fully guaranteed, in a deal done by this guy, Tommy, his agent. Okay, so that puts Nick Bolton up as a top 5 linebacker from an average per year standpoint. You've got Roquan Smith making $20 million a year, Fred Warner just under that, Tremaine Edmonds, Zach Bond, who just recently got a deal done with the Eagles. Happy for him. And then Nick Bolton is right there. If this is all updated, he's either top 5 or right around top 5. And the reason I say that is because there's been a bunch of deals done. I think this is accurate. I think Nick Bolton is now a top 5 paid linebacker in the NFL. It's about what I thought he would get, but I just didn't know if the Chiefs would actually be the ones to pull the trigger on this or not. You've had a bunch of linebacker moves happen within just a handful of days. Zach Bond was a big one, 3-year 51, but Nick Bolton's not far behind, 3-year 45. Nate Taylor said in the negotiations, the range for Nick Bolton was always going to be around $12 to $17 million. When Zach Bond got his deal done, I was like, that has to be like right around Nick Bolton money. That has to be right around Nick Bolton money. Now, if you are frustrated by this signing, I could get it. I understand, but the complication with Nick Bolton, when I said, will the Chiefs bring him back or not, was, I said it in my last video, I think on Friday. Spags is pounding the table for a Nick Bolton return because of how much he loves having him in his defense, the big role that he plays as the Mike linebacker. I always said, I don't know that the Chiefs pay him, but if Spags has anything to say about it, he's going to speak very loudly for the Nick Bolton return, and it did happen. Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest kind of sums this up when it comes to Nick Bolton and his importance in the eyes of Steve Spagnuolo. Every player on the Chiefs defense will tell you that Nick Bolton is Steve Spagnuolo's favorite, and there is a reason. The complexity of the KC defense is completely dependent on the Mike linebacker. If you trust in Spags, in Bolton, you trust too. Initial thoughts. Yeah, it is surprising. I just thought maybe they would let him walk. Maybe you bring back a cheaper deal guy like Willie Gay Jr. You had Drew Tranquill already under contract through next year. He stepped in for Nick Bolton as the Mike linebacker when he was injured, and then you draft a guy. So I thought maybe you would go that route just because of the needs elsewhere. The Chiefs franchise tag Trey Smith. You got to get a long-term deal done with him. They traded away Joe Thuney, right? But so you don't have a left guard yet, unless that's Kingsley, like they said it was potentially going to be. We'll see about that. But then you don't have a left tackle. They did also re-sign Hollywood Brown yesterday, a 1-year deal worth up to $11 million. And now before free agency starts tomorrow, they locked up who was going to be one of the top remaining available linebackers in the league in Nick Bolton. I mean, he's got his strengths. Like, he is a valuable part of the defense. He's been relatively healthy outside of 2023 when he banged up his wrist. I think he needed surgery on it, right? One of the leading tacklers on the team year after year. He's a great downhill runner, penetrating the line, making plays against the run game. Like, we've seen him do that time and time again, where his limitations do show up as his burst and elite speed. He just doesn't have elite speed. Okay, so he doesn't have elite speed to really beat people on the outside or work people tightly in coverage. So that's where his limitations do pop up, and that's why some fans, like, they're definitely frustrated. I've been on Twitter just kind of looking around, And people are saying we don't understand because you have so much tied up now at linebacker, guard, and center with those three. But it's just, I feel like the writing was on the wall there. The evidence was on the wall of his potential return just because of how much Nick Bolton means to this defense, and in particular, Steve Spagnuolo. So again, they could have went the route of letting him walk. He would have gotten top 5-ish linebacker money elsewhere for sure, and then drafting his replacement. But you do take a gamble there, and you know what you have in Nick Bolton. He's still young. He's just coming off of his rookie deal, so he's like 26-ish years old. You're keeping your youth around you, and this is kind of saying, hey, Drew Tranquill's 30, he'll be 31. So you're probably moving on from Drew Tranquill next year, or after this season, rather, upcoming season, 2025. And maybe then you still draft a linebacker. This is a 3-year, $45 million deal, but it's $30 million guaranteed. So I would almost bet you there is an out after a couple years. We shall see, but that's the news. After the whole Worthy situation went nuts, arrested, then the charges were dismissed the same night because of all that stuff that went down. You had that. You had Hollywood Brown getting a 1-year deal worth up to $11 million, and now you have Nick Bolton getting a 3-year deal worth $45 million, 30 fully guaranteed. The Chiefs are locking up their big pieces of importance. One thing to note, Justin Reed, still no deal done. And Nate Taylor makes it seem like they're not going to get a long-term deal done, to the surprise of Justin Reed, who responded to the post by KCSN saying, that's news. Well, that's news. Then Charles Omenihu, the other day, in some deleted tweets, he said he's going to be able to test the free agency market for the first time, the real first time in his career. Coming off of he finished the season healthy, and 2 years ago when the Chiefs signed him, he was dealing with some off-the-field stuff that did get him suspended for like 4 to 6 games. I can't remember how much it was. So Justin Reed is still a big question mark. Charles Omenihu, question mark. Sounds like both of those guys are going to test the market. Joe Thuney's gone. Trey Smith, he's tagged, but you should be able to get a long-term deal done with him soon. That's the goal, because you don't want that $23 million tied up this entire time. You have to be cap compliant by the start of the new league year, which is March 12th. So the Chiefs have a few days to get cap compliant, but you're definitely over now. Nick Bolton's cap hit won't be a lot this year in theory. Trey Smith, if you can get that long-term deal done, he's not going to be near $23 million of a cap hit this year. Will he get around $23 million average per year on a 4 to 5 year contract? Most likely, yes. Trey Smith is probably resetting the guard market, just like back in September, Creed Humphrey reset the center market. The pieces are coming together. Hollywood Brown, that was one that I was hoping was going to be able to be brought back. Hopefully this Trey Smith deal gets worked out so the cap hit is not so heavy this early on in free agency. The Chiefs can make some other moves that's needed. What do you guys think in the comments? You're going to have to let me know if you think Justin Reed should come back, what you think about Charles Omenihu. I see some people saying in Spags we trust. Yeah, heck yeah. Someone said, great YouTuber. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Marcus, thanks for the gifted. Caleb with the 2. DK only a second now. Yeah, there's kind of a lot going on because Geno Smith just got traded on Friday. He got traded to the Raiders. Like DK Metcalf to the Raiders could be a thing. Apparently DK Metcalf's interested in a warm climate. It was eyeing Houston. There's a lot of dominoes that are about to fall here very soon, and I'm ever so curious to see how it all plays out. This was a surprising move, the Nick Bolton signing. I don't hate it by any means. I'm very happy for him. I think he has his strengths, but he also has his weaknesses and limitations that you kind of have to scheme around, and the middle of the field has been a concern for the Chiefs in coverage. That has been abused for a year or two now. So they got to figure out slot corner, in my opinion. I don't know that Chamari Connor is the long-term answer. And then that's why I thought they might potentially move on from Nick Bolton at the Mike linebacker spot and maybe opt to get more of a coverage linebacker, a little bit more athletic. But this is what they're doing, keeping him around. Don't hate it. I'm not necessarily in love, but I'm happy for him, if that makes sense. Like, I trust Veach more than I trust myself and my thoughts and my opinions, and hopefully they've got the plan figured out and all that stuff. We're just on the outside looking in. But again, let me know your thoughts on this 3-year, $45 million signing, 30 fully guaranteed for Nick Bolton. And I promise you the next news that drops, whoever signs next, I will go live and react to it. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go.
How about those Chiefs?